Pre-Algebra, Chapter 2, Lesson 1. Your quote today comes from Horseradish by Lemony Snicket, Bitter Truths You Can't Avoid, page 36. The expression, those who cannot do, teach, is a curious one, because if you look at the world, you'll see that teachers aren't particularly worse at doing things than anyone else. So perhaps the expression might be better worded as, nobody can do anything. All right, math time. Solving equations by adding or subtracting. Your mission, is to get the variable by itself. How do you do this? By undoing what is happening to it using the opposite operation or sign. So whatever's happening to the variable, we have to undo, okay? Why do we do this? And that we do this so that we can figure out what the variable is. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, a lot of these you're probably just going to be able to look at and be like, Miss DH, the answer's obvious. But for those people where the answer is not obvious, this is how you go about solving the problem. What is happening to x and x plus 8 equals 3? Well, x is being added with 8. So if I'm going to get x by itself, I need to undo it, okay? I need to get rid of the 8. To get rid of the 8, I'm going to do the opposite. The opposite of positive 8 is negative 8. So I'm going to minus 8 on both sides. 8 minus 8 is 0, so that just cancels out. So x is equal to 3 minus 8. Well, 3 minus 8 is negative 5. All right, and that's because the signs are different, so I'm going to subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5, but since the 8 had the negative, it's going to donate its sign to make it negative 5. Okay? All right, next up, we have y minus 5 equals 8. So the opposite of minus 5, or the opposite of negative 5, is positive 5. So I'm going to add 5 on both sides. So y is equal to 13 plus, or excuse me, y is equal to 8 plus 5. 8 plus 5 is 13. And again, guys, you can always plug these numbers back in to double check. So if I put negative 5 where x is, negative 5 plus 8 is positive 3. If I put in, let's pick a different color, if I put 13 in where y is, 13 plus negative 5 or 13 minus 5 is 8. So that's always a good way to double check your answers to make sure you get a true statement. Okay, so let's look at the next problem. We have c plus negative 4. Well, what is the opposite of negative 4? The opposite of negative 4 is plus 4. All right, this is very important. You need to pay attention to this. These are things that a lot of kids in my previous classes have had trouble with this. So you have to pay attention to this, folks. When you're adding a negative, to undo that, add the negative, you actually have to add a positive because the opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. Okay? So we're going to add 4 to both sides. C is going to equal negative 1 because the signs are the same over here, or excuse me, the signs are different. 5 minus 4 is 1. Since the 5 is furthest from 0, it's going to donate its sign. You guys remember this from a couple videos ago? And c equals negative 1. And we can double check that by doing negative 1 plus negative 4 is negative 5. A negative plus a negative is a more negative answer. Okay. All right, so here's just a little curveball. The s is over here. This is an s, by the way. All right? So what's happening to s? It's being added by negative 5. Well, what's the opposite of negative 5? Plus 5, plus 5. So negative 5 plus 5 is 0, leaving me with just s is equal to 10 plus 5. 10 plus 5 is 15. All right, there we go. All right, we got 2 word problems, and you know what? Then I'm done talking at you, so let's get to it. All right, Cora measures her heart rate at 123 beats per minute. Maybe she's been running. This is 55 beats per minute more than her resting heart rate. Write and solve an equation to find Cora's resting rate. Well, if we know that she has a regular heartbeat, right? This is her resting heartbeat. And we add 55 because it's more than, okay, really because it's addition, doesn't really matter the order, but we're going to be adding, hold on, Miss Michelle's coming, pause. Okay, I'm back. So we have the resting heart rate, which we don't know. And since we don't know the resting heart rate, I'm going to make it the letter R for resting. But whatever the resting heart rate is, plus 55 is going to equal what she is after that supposed run I said she was on. Okay? So now that I have an equation, I need to solve for the resting heart rate. Well, what's happening to the resting heart rate? It's being added by 55, so the opposite of adding 55 is subtracting 55. So we're going to have R is equal to, again, 55 minus 55 is 0, so that cancels each other out. And I'm going to go ahead and borrow, show some work. 13 minus 5 is 8, 11 minus 5 is 6, so the resting heart rate is 68 beats per minute, all right? And it's good to remember what you're talking about. The answer is not just 68. It's not 68 apples, it's not 68 oranges, it's not 68 Lego blocks. It's 68 beats per minute. So you need to make sure you have your units. And that's what those things are called, okay? Now, your units could be Legos, your units could be bananas, but in this case, because we're trying to find out her heart rate, it is beats per minute. Okay, last problem, short video. Yay for short videos. All right, so here's the question. A used book cost $17 less than the same book new. So used less than same new one, the new one, okay? So we've got new less than means subtraction. The word than means I'm switching. So even though this came second right here, even though this came second, it's now going to be first because of the word than, then used. Okay? So if I subtract them, basically, you're going to get a $17 difference. Okay? $17 difference. All right? A new book costs $17 less than the new book. Okay? Well, pretty much. So I can rearrange this, and I'm going to rearrange it like so. So we've got the new book, and we're going to subtract the used book, because we do know how much the used book costs. The used book costs $9, and we should get a difference of $17. Okay? So there we go. There's another way you can set it up, but this is the way they really want you to set it up. So what do I need to do to figure out the new book? Well, I'm going to add 9. So the new book is going to cost $26. There we go. I know a lot of you guys would just be like, hey, it's going to be the new book plus $9, which is fine, or the difference plus the used book, and that's fine too. But really, when they're asking you to write an equation, they're going to ask you to do this, okay? So I do need you to be prepared to do that on any of your tests. All right, guys, video's over. Talk to you later. Bye.